Hello. Well, I think we're all aware of just how torrid a year 2020 was for the aerospace industry, but there are mixed views on what happens next. Some market segments seem to be positive, others not so. But what's the big picture? Well, we leave that to the best of the global analysts and the consulting firms who dig deep with the industry leaders to get clear direction of the outlook. And we're joined today by John Coykendall, who leads the Global Aerospace and Defence team for Deloitte, who has now published the firm's 2021 Aerospace and Defence Outlook. John, welcome to the programme. So the 2021 Outlook is out. What is Deloitte expecting from the aerospace and defence industry, and what were the major trends for the different sectors?
Alan, thanks so much for having me, and it's great to be here with you and your viewers. It's a challenging and also an exciting time for our industry. For context, we wrote the 2021 Outlook in the height of the pandemic late last year. So now as we sit here almost halfway through 2021, it's interesting to look at how the year is shaping up. The good news is that the year is playing out largely in alignment with our outlook, and it's really a tale of two industries. Let's look at the sectors in more detail. So first, commercial aerospace. Our estimate was passenger traffic would be down about 40% from 2019 levels, but significantly above 2020 levels. Based on the latest data, in places like the US with high levels of vaccination, we're seeing quite a rebound in air travel. In the US, TSA data for the first half of May showed that we're down mid 30% over the same period in 2019. So in line with and maybe a bit better than we projected, but not as strong in places where vaccine rates are lower. We still expect domestic travel to recover first by 2023 and international to follow by 2025. But I would say there's rising optimism that there's pent-up demand for both leisure and business travel as people get vaccinated. And of course, the drop in demand for travel has led to a drop in aircraft production, which has impacted the OEMs and their suppliers significantly. Again, the good news is production and deliveries are increasing, and there's discussion of further increases in narrow-body production.
But while the commercial market faltered, it seems that defence and space industries seem to fare better.
So let's shift to defense. Despite the challenges of COVID on the industry, we continue to expect that the defense sector is likely to remain stable in 2021, as most countries have not significantly reduced defense budgets and remain committed to sustaining military capabilities. In fact, global defense spending grew 2.6% in 2020, despite the pandemic-led slowdown. And as we turn to space, despite the ongoing pandemic, space remained a bright spot as launches increased, and we expect that to continue in 2021. As funding continues to increase and costs decline, the space industry is likely to experience increased opportunities, primarily in satellite broadband internet access, and space launch services and space exploration are expected to record strong growth in 2021 due to declining launch costs and advances in technology. Lastly, let me mention supply chain challenges which cross all three of the sectors. Lower aircraft demand and restrictions on the movement of goods and people due to the pandemic has led to a breakdown of many essential A&D supply chains. This has impacted smaller suppliers, especially those with heavy exposure to commercial aerospace and the aftermarket business. Suppliers that depend primarily on commercial aftermarket are likely to experience lower volumes for several years due to reduced flying hours, a glut of used serviceable material, and inventory destocking. Moreover, the recent shortage of semiconductors could impact the aerospace and defense industry, as these chips have several applications in aerospace and military systems, including power management, avionics, and defense systems. So in 2021, we expect to see significant focus on understanding and reducing supply chain risk, which can be done using strategies such as onshoring, vertical integration, and increased cyber defense.
So it looks like the supply chain is going to feel that impact even more than the airlines.
Keep in mind that even in the depth of the pandemic, when passenger traffic was down roughly 85 to 90%, flights were down about 60%. So planes were still flying, just at much lower load factors. Now, the supply chain impacts of this have been mixed. On the downside, the impact of production volume reductions has impacted OEMs all the way down the extended supply chain, where we're seeing some mid to lower tier suppliers struggling due to depressed earnings and cash flows. However, on the positive side, maybe a silver lining, this has given the supply chain a chance to catch up. It's allowed for the insertion of technology upgrades where needed, and even investments in new production capabilities to take advantage of future growth. We're seeing many companies investing in digital transformation and automation in their factories to be more efficient at a lower cost when demand returns.
John, thank you for sharing that research with us. And I think we're all coming out of this a little more positive than we were a year ago. Well, that was John Coykendall, the lead at Deloitte for the Aerospace and Defence business. Now, Deloitte will be participating in the FIA Connect 2021, the world's only major digital trade event for the aerospace and defence industries. And that takes place from July the 13th through to the 15th. Now, you can find out more about that event on our website, wearefin.com. And of course, if you want to know more about that Deloitte Outlook, which is covering lots of things with the futures as well, go onto their website, www.deloitte.com. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.